Hello dear students, welcome to the computer class of standard 10. I hope you all are fine and you all are doing well. Today we are going to begin our chapter number 16, functions. So let's just start the chapter.
So students, in this chapter we are going to discuss about the most important functionality of a C language, that is the function, the use of function, and how it is important in the C programming concept that we are going to discuss today. So one of the strength of C language is its ability to define and use functions. So function is a group of statements that performs a specific task. So what is the use of function? In the function we are writing some of the things to perform a specific task. Some of the statements we will write in a function. How we are writing in our main function. So main is also the function, and here these functions are used to reduce the size of our program by dividing it into the another sub programs. So here these sub programs are known as a function. So the function is also known as a method, subroutine or procedure. So these are the another names of a function. It is also known as a method, subroutine or a procedure. So far we have used the number of C functions in our program, or we are familiar with the use of our main function. Main is the function through which our program execution will begin. So it is a special type of user defined function that supports the execution of every C program. So in each and every C program, at least one user defined function is there, that is known as a main function. Next is a printf and scanf statements. So these statements we are using for the input and output. So these are the example of a C function. So every executable C program has at least one main function that we have discussed. Now the use of function in a program makes it modular. So what is the meaning of modular? Modularity means partitioning a complex problem into the small sub problems which are easy to understand and maintain. So here what we are doing, here we are dividing our problem into the some parts. So these parts makes the program very easy to understand and very easy to maintain as well. And once a problem is divided into the small sub problems, we can write a function for each sub problem. So for each sub problem we will define the separate function. So suppose here you want to define the program to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of a given number. So instead of writing all the things in our main function, we will divide this program into the 4 sub parts known as a, so for that we will define the separate user defined function. So one add function for addition, sub function for subtraction, mul function for multiplication and div function for the division. So like this we will divide our complex problem into the sub problems, and for each and every sub problems we will discuss or we will define one new user defined function. So like this we can make our program modular. The problem is then solved by using all functions together in a program. In this chapter we will discuss various type of C functions, and we will also learn how functions can be defined and used in a program. So several types of functions we are going to discuss in this chapter, and how we can use the functions, that also we are going to see. So first we will see that in the function there are two categories of functions in a C. So first one is the library function, that is also known as a system defined functions, and next is a user defined function. So as per the name we have discussed already the library functions or the variables. So which are the functions that is provided inbuilt by our C language, that is known as a library function, and the example of library functions are our printf and scanf. So if you want to use this library function, means the function that is given by the system, then we need to include some of the header files. So here if we are using the scanf and printf in our program, then which header file we are including, that is stdio.h header file, because they are the standard input and output related functions. Then if you want to perform some mathematical task, then for that also several functions are already defined in the system. So if you want to perform that functions, or if you want to use that function, then you need to include that header file. So for example, the square root and cos function, so these are the examples of a mathematical function, and if you want to use these functions, then you need to add the header file, that is math.h. Why we are inserting this header file? Because under this header file, here the function explanation, means the function definition, is written in the math.h header file. So that is why we need to include that header file here. So to use any library function, we have to include its corresponding header file in our program. So the list of some non-header files and the functions in that file are given in the appendix file, that is at the last of your textbook. It's there. So you have to read out from there all the things, that which are the functions you can use, or if you want to use that function, then what is the header file that you need to include. Now we will understand one of the example here, that how we can use the library functions or a system defined function. So here we are going to get the power value of a 8. So the same function or same example I will show you practically. So for that, here we need to include the header file math.h, and stdio.h also we need to include, because here we are reading or we are using the printf statement. So for that, we have included the header file stdio.h, and for the power function, this is used to get the power value of any number. So here this power, to use this power function, we need to get the header file, that is math.h, and here we are going to get the power value of 8. So 8 raised to 2. Then the answer will be stored into the answer variable. So for that, I am starting the program, that is our Turbo C++, and in that one we will discuss the program here. So first we will open the new file. So go to the file and new. So now here we will discuss that. First I will include the header file, that is hash include stdio.h. Then next header file we are going to insert, that is hash include math.h. Now we will begin our program with the main function. So void main. Then after, now we will define, opening curly bracket, and we will define the variable as a float. Data type is float, variable name is a answer. Now in the answer, we want to perform what? We want to get the power value of particular number. So for that, we are using the power function. So for that, I am using POW power, and then if I want to get the power value of 8, then I have to write it down there 8. And then next argument is 2. So it will define the power value, that means value of 8 raised to 2. Then semicolon. Now here we will printf. So here what value we are getting? So the value of 8 raised to 2 is %d, and that value we have stored in which? In the answer variable. So answer variable we will print that, semicolon, and get ch. So here we have given the static value as a 8 here. Now we will save this file. So file and save, and here remove that double P, and here we are giving the name, that is library function, use of library function. Save. Now we will compile our program, 0 errors, and now we will run our program. Control F9. So here the value of 8 raised to 2 is 0. Why it is coming as a 0 here? percentage f we need to write it down, because here we haven't declared the float, we haven't declared the integer variable, we have declared the variable float. So percentage f will come here at the place of percentage d. Now we will compile our program again, and now we will run the program. And here you can see that 8 raised to 2, that means 8 multiplied by 8. So here the answer is coming, that is 64. So like this we can get the power value. Now if you want, instead of this 8, you want to get the power value of the number that is entered by the user. So then here you just declare the variable number. Now with the printf statement, you just store the value, printf enter value of number 1, and with the scanf we will store that value, scanf percentage d ampersand number 1. Now instead of 8, you just give the first parameter, that is number given by a user, and next is a 2. Now the same program we will compile here, that is one error, undefined symbol number 1, because here we have declared the number variable. So here now remove that one, F2, yes, and now alter F9 and control F9. So here enter value of number 1. So suppose now here I am entering 10. So here again the same, enter the scanf function is there. Here we need to use percentage f. Again we made the mistake that instead of percentage d we need to write it down there percentage f. Now again we will run our program, and here after this I am using the CLR SCR to remove the previous output, CLR SCR. Now just run this program, enter the value 10, and now we will see that is 100. So here the message we have to remove that one. So just message we will give that the power value is that message we will give, because we have changed the value. Now control F9. Now suppose I am giving the value 2. So 2 raised to 2. So the power value is 4. So like this we can make this program dynamic also. So I hope you understood that how to use the library functions here.
So the next type of function is a user defined function. So the function that are developed by the user, that is known as a user defined function. And in each and every C program, one special user defined function is there, that is known as a main. And all the C program executions begins from the main function. But if we are writing all the things in our main function only, then the size of our program will become large. So the testing and debugging of such program, that may be difficult for the programmers. So that is why if we'll divide the program into the small sub programs, that is known as the functions, then it is much easier to understand, test and debug. So if there is error in some of the parts, then that parts only we need to check. There is no need to check the whole program. So that is why we are dividing the main problem into the sub programs, and then we can make the program, we can reduce the program size like that. So now we will discuss some of the advantages of using function. So first, if we are dividing the program into the function, that makes the understanding and maintenance of the program easier. So it is very easy to maintain and understand that programs. Then once the functions are written, then as many times you can call it as you want. So this reduces the actual length of a program and thus saves the memory also. So once the program is written, function is written by you, then in any program you can call it as many times as you want. Function helps us to avoid redundant programming of a similar task. Means once you have performed one function to perform that particular task, then again when you need to perform that task, no need to write that things again. In place of that one, you can use that previous function. So the redundant programming is also avoided by using the functions over here. A function written for one program may be used in other program also, and same function can be used with the different values of arguments. So these are the advantages of functions. Then after now we will try to understand that how the functions are working. So first you just see, first this is the main program, that is main is our user defined function. Yes, main is our user defined function. Then after you just see in the main we have written just function 1, function 2 and function 1. So there is no other things, just function's name we have written. So this main is our user defined function, and function 1, function 2, these are the other user defined function. So from main we are calling this function 1 and function 2. So from which function this function 1 and function 2 are called? From the main function. So main function is known as a calling function, because from the main we are calling another function. So main is our calling function, and which are the functions we called from the main, that is known as a called function, that is function 1 and function 2. And whatever is written there, function 1, function 2 in our main function body, that is known as a function call. So when you will call any function by using their name, then the function that control will transfer to that function body, and whatever is written in the function body, that will be executed at that time, and then after control will go back to your main function. So like this the program execution will happen there. Then after when you will call the function 2 from our main, then the program control will go to the function 2 body. Whatever the statements are written in the function 2 body, that will be executed, and then after again the control will come back to the function 2, and then again we are calling the function 1. So the same procedure will happen there. So like this the concept of the function will work here. So students, now we will discuss about the function definition. If we want to use the user defined function in our program, then first we need to inform compiler about this. So how we can inform to compiler? By writing the function definition. So a function cannot be used without its definition, and the general form of writing function definition is given here below. So first one is the return data type, then after you have to write your function name, and in bracket you have to write the arguments. Then after opening curly bracket and all the function statements that is required, that you have to write it down inside that, and then after completion of all the things, closing curly bracket. So here the return data type is the type of information that is written by our function. If the return value from the function is integer, then return data type is integer, and if function does not return any value, then the return data type is a void. Next is a function name. So function name specifies the name of user defined function. Means how we are giving the variable name, same as you have to follow all the rules to give the function name, and that should be meaningful function name. For example, if you are performing addition, then you can give the function name add. If you are performing subtraction, then you can give function name sub. If you want to perform average, then you can give the function name average, like this. So now next is what is the arguments. So the argument shows the input values provided to the function along with the data types. Means if you want to provide the input, then you have to pass the arguments inside your function. So for more than one argument, all the arguments can be separated by commas in the function definition. So if more than one arguments are there, then how you can separate it? By using the comma. And the statements between this opening and closing curly braces are known as a function body. Means whatever the things you are writing in the function, that opening and closing curly bracket, that part is known as a function body, in which we have written all the things that we want to perform using that function. So based on the requirements in our program, the function body may contains local variable declarations and return statement. So whatever the variable we are declaring within that opening and closing curly brackets, that are known as a local variables, and that we can use inside that function only. So this is the rules, or this is the function definition. In this way we can use that one. Then next is the function call. And one thing we need to note here, that is, there is no need to define the library function, because library functions are already inbuilt functions, so that are already defined, and in which these functions are defined in our header files that we are including. So for the library functions, there is no need to write the function definition. The function definition is required only when we are using the user defined function, and all the user defined function needs to be defined as a function prototype before being used in a program. So before you are using your function in a program, first you have to write the function prototype, means you have to declare that function before using that function. So function prototype means the declaration of a function before that use in a main program. And when the function prototype is required, when the function is defined after our main function, at that time only the function prototype is required. And whatever function prototype means the declaration. So during the declaration time, whatever the name you have given of a function and whatever the arguments you have passed in the function bracket for the input. So when you are defining the function, at that time also the name of the function and the arguments value, that must be same. Otherwise the compiler will generate error. Next is the function call. So as stated earlier, that every C program starts with a function main, and from main functions only we are calling other library or user defined functions. So to call a function, use function name with required number of parameters. Parameters means the arguments that we have passed in a bracket. So like this we can make a function call here, means from which function we are calling all the function from the main function, and how we can call it by using their name and the number of arguments that is required in that function. So here we will see one example. So here you can see that print line, see void and print line. This is the function prototype, and that we have to use before our void main to declare that function. So that is the function declaration, we can say that. So here the return data type is void, that means function will not return any value, and we haven't passed any parameter. Then after we have used the void main, and here you just see first statement is the print line and semicolon. What is this? This is our function name. So that means this is known as a function call. So when you will call this function, then the program control will go to this function, print line function. So here you can see void and print line we have written, and in the opening and closing curly bracket we have written the content here. So this is known as a function definition. So here with the printf we have drawn one pattern over here. So when we are using this function, so how the output will come, see, first we have written the print line, so this dash 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 will become at the place of there. Then after again control will go to the void main, and here it will print the welcome to the world of C function, and again we have called the print line, so again this pattern will be printed. So this will be the output of your program. So like this the function call will work. Now the rest of the things we will see practically, because based on the function argument and the return types, there are some of the several types of functions are there. So this type of functions and
So
The
students, now
example we will
depending on the
discuss
presence of
practically.
the function arguments and the return value in a function, they fall under the following three categories. So this all three categories of function we will discuss with the practical. So first one is the function with no argument and no return values. Means there is no any argument in a function and we are not returning any value. So when there is no any return value, then always the function return type will be the void. Then after next is a function with arguments and no return value. Means in the function the parameters are there, the arguments are there, but there is no return value. And last one is the function with arguments and with return value. So here in the first one type there is no data exchange between the our main function and our user defined function. So no data will go from our main function to our function 1 and no data will come back from the function 1 to the main function. In the second type of function, that is with argument and return value, when there is an argument, so these arguments we have to provide when we are calling that particular function. So when we are calling the user defined function in our main function, at that time we need to pass argument here. Then this argument will be transferred to our user defined function. That means we are sending a data from the main function to the user defined function, and but when we are receiving the data, at that time there is no data transfer from the user defined function to our main function. So here the one way communication is there, means the data will go from the main function to our user defined function in the form of arguments, but here we are not getting any value back, so no return value. And last one is the function with argument and with return value. So in that the two-way communication is there. So here we are sending the data in the form of arguments and that result will come here in our main function. So like this the two-way communication is there in the third one type, in the function with a argument and with return value. So now we will see practically all these three types of categories here. So now I will show you first the image of this third one. See here, this is the third one type that is the function with two-way data communication. So here from the our main function we are sending the data to our user defined function, and then after the answer, here the return statement will be there and return and answer. So answer we are not printing in our user defined function, but that answer will come back to our main function. So like this the two-way communications are there in the form of arguments and return value. So this is the with the image we have discussed this one. Now the same thing we will discuss with the example. So for that first I will open our C Turbo C++. So first we will see the simple type of function, that is function without any argument and without return statement. So here first we have to write our header file hash include stdio.h. Next is void main. But before void main, if we are using the function in our program, then before void main we have to define that function here. So that is known as a function prototype. So what is the use of a function prototype? So function prototype is a declaration of a function. So when we are using the user defined function in our program, then if that function is defined after our void main, after our main function, then first we have to declare that function. So that is known as a function prototype. So here the function prototype is needed when the function is defined after the main. So here I am going to perform the addition of two numbers. So what is the syntax to define or to declare the function here. So first is the function return type, that is void. Then after your function name. So here I am giving function name as a add. So here same rules you have to follow, that rules we are following to declare any variable name. So here this is declared by me, then after semicolon. There is no any arguments, that is why here there is no any data in the function bracket. Then after void main will come, and in the void main we will not write anything. Just I am calling my function add. Just one statement only I am writing here. Then after this is our void main, and now we will use our function definition. So now here we will define our add function. So this is the function body. Whatever you are writing in the curly bracket, all the statements is known as the function body. And now we are defining the add function. So here we are declaring two variable, number 1 and number 2. And next variable is a add variable. Then after semicolon. So first here we will use clr Then after we will give the message printf enter value of number 1 and number 2. Bracket over, double quote over, bracket over and semicolon. Now we will perform add operation. So add is equals to, in the small letter only we need to write, add is equals to number 1 plus number 2, semicolon. Then after next is the printf statement. Printf addition is %d and add, our variable name that holds the result of addition. At the last get ch, and function definition is over here. So you can see here in the void main we haven't written anything. So this makes our program size very small. Whatever the content you are writing in the main, that shows your program size. So here you can see our program size is only one line we have written over here. So when we will execute our function control will go to the void main, and then it will execute the statement that is written here, add. Yes. So when this add statement will be executed over here, then the compiler, that function, that program control will come into this function. So from the void main, the control will transfer to this add function, and it will execute all the statements that are written here inside your add function, and then after control will go back to this main function. So like this function will work. So first we will save this function with the F2, and here I am giving the function name, function add function, add.c, add function. Okay. Now compile this program. There is no errors, and run this program. So now here the message is coming, addition is. Why this statement came here? Because we haven't used the scanf statement here. So if we are not using the scanf statement, that means the value, where the value will be stored. So scanf is equals to %d, double quote over, ampersand number 1, comma, ampersand number 2, bracket over, semicolon. So now again compile this program and run. So I enter value for number 1 and number 2. So here I am entering 3 and 4. So addition is 7. Like this will work. So here we are writing, or here I am adding the comment That is the which type of function? Function with no argument and no return value. Function with no argument and no return value. So here this is the first function type with no argument and no return value. So I hope you understood this example well. So students, now we are going to discuss the second type of function, that is function with arguments but no return value. So before discussing this type of function, first we will discuss that what is function arguments. So here function arguments, and these arguments are also known as a parameters. Means these arguments we are writing in the function bracket. So the basic idea behind using arguments or parameters in the function is to pass data between the calling and the called function, that we have discussed in the image. In that image I told you there is here the one way communication is that. Means here the calling function means our main function through which we are calling our next function, that is known as another user defined function. So that means here we are transferring the data from the main function to that called function that we are calling from the main function. So this type of data transmission we can do by passing the arguments or parameters in that function. So when the calling function sends the data to the call function, it is called as argument or parameter passing. So here when we are transferring the data, here we can transfer the data in the form of arguments. So the arguments used at the time of function definition are known as the formal arguments. Means when we are defining the function, and at that time whatever the arguments we are passing in the function bracket, that is known as the formal arguments. And the call to such function needs same number of arguments to be passed to it at the time of function call. So when we are calling the function from our main function, at that time in that function brackets we need to type or we need to give the same parameters, the same argument. So these arguments that we are giving during the function call time, these arguments are known as the actual arguments. So the formal and actual arguments should match in a number, type and order. So whatever the arguments you are passing in the formal arguments means in the function definition, and whatever the arguments you are passing during the function call time, that should match in the number. Means if two arguments are there during in the function definition, then two arguments must be there when you are calling that function. The data type also should be matched, and the order of that function also must be similar. And if actual arguments are more than formal arguments, means if here in the actual arguments only two parameters are there, but when you are calling that function, at that time if you are giving the three parameters, then the additional actual arguments, that what are the additional arguments are there, additional parameters, that will be discarded by the compiler. And when the actual arguments that are less than our formal arguments, then this unmatched formal arguments are initialized with the garbage values. And also any mismatch is there in the data type and in the number of arguments, then also they will be initialized as a garbage value. So now we will see practically the example here, that how we can transfer the data from the one function, means from the calling function to the called function in the form of arguments. So for that again we will start our Turbo C++ program, and there we will type the program to see the output of a cube. So one number we will give, and that number cube we wants to display over here. So first we have to write it down the function prototype, means the declaration of our function. So before that first we need to include our header file. So hash include stdio.h. Then after Next is our function prototype. So here we are not having any return value. That is why the data type must be the void. Return data type must be void. Then after our function name, we want to display the cube of a given number. So function name is a cube. And here we are passing only one value. So that is why the here in the function bracket, the parameter we are writing, that is integer and semicolon. So this is known as the declaration of a function, and that is required when we are defining our function after our main function. Then after next is a void main. Now in the void main, we will give one value, that is integer number. And now I am writing. Then after we will use printf, enter your number. Enter number. Then after, double quotation must be there. So delete this one and do the double quote. Then after, with the scanf, we will store that value. Scanf %d and number, semicolon. Now we want to perform the cube here. So now this function we will use, which function, what is the name? Cube. And here we have to pass the parameter, that is the number, same number that we have used. So whatever the variable you have defined here, that as a parameter we will pass when we are calling our function. So this statement is known as a function call. And as when we have defined the function, here we have passed the parameter, so here we have to give the value. So this argument, whatever we have written in this function bracket, this is known as a actual argument that we are writing. The value that we are giving during the function call time, that is known as a actual argument. Now we will close our void main, and now we will define our cube function. So whatever the function we want to define in our program, we want to use in our program, that function definition we are writing over here. So now we will write our first void return data type, then after our function name cube, and now the parameter we will pass here, that is known as a formal parameter. And here the same, the data type that you have used here, that you have to use integer, and now you have to give one variable name. So here I am writing n1. So this is the actual parameter number that we have written here inside in the function bracket. This is the actual parameter and this is the formal parameter. Now here we will open the curly bracket and we will write our function body. So in that we will perform the cube operation. So printf and cube of entered number is here. Now we will perform the cube operation. So whatever the variable we have used here, the data, here what we have passed, the data will come here in this formal argument. So suppose now with the printf we can enter the value. So if here you are entering the value 5, then this 5 will be stored over here, and then after the control will come to this cube function, and whatever value has been stored here, this value is stored now into the n1 variable. So now here in n1 holds the data that is entered by the user. So this n1 we have to do the multiplication 3 times, then the cube will come. So we have to multiply the same number 3 times, then it will be the answer of your cube. Then after bracket over and semicolon. And here we will write the statement there. And here we will write the get ch also to see the output. So now we will save our program F2. And here we will give the program name cube. Okay. Then after the next, here I am writing the comment, that is with argument no return value. So we can understand that this program we have done with argument and no return value. So now we will compile our program. There is no error, and now we will run our program. So now here we have to enter number. So here I am entering value 3. So 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So the cube is, why the cube not came here? So here we have to print that percentage D is missing here. That is why that answer not came. So now we have done the percentage D. Now again we will go to the run. Here now we will enter again 3. And here you can see the cube is 27. So first 3 multiplied by 3, 9. 9 multiplied by 3, 27. So like this you can use the function that is with argument and no return value. So I hope you understood the second one type.
Students, now we are going to discuss the third one type of function, that is function with arguments and with return value. Means function with the two-way data communication. So in this type of function, first we will send the input from our main function to our called function. And then after from the called function we will return the answer back to our main function. So like this we will use both the concepts here, arguments as well as return statement in this example. So now let us understand the example here, that will read number from the user and find its square using a square function. And we will send a number from a calling function main to the called function square. So in the main we are calling the function that is square, and we will send the input from our calling function to our called function, means to the square, as a argument. Then the called function finds the square of a number and returns it to the calling function. So here the figure 16.14 gives the chord listing of the example 16.5, while figure 16.15 shows its output. So we will use now this program to understand this concept well. So here you can see the documentation is there, that the programs to illustrate the use of function with argument and return value. Now here you can see first we have written our header file, that is hash include stdio.h. Then after the function that we are declaring, that is the square function. So first after header file you can see this is the declaration, means the prototype of our function, our user defined function square. So the return type is a integer, because here we are returning the value back to our main function. That is why here the return type is an integer. Function name is sqr, and in the bracket also as a parameter also we are passing one integer value. So in that also we have written integer and semicolon. Now void main, so our function body of our main function. Then in the curly bracket we have declared the local variable, that is integer number and result. So here enter your number. So here we are getting the value from the user for that number that they wants to find the square. So that value we have got from the user, and that value is stored in our number variable with the help of scanf statement. So scanf %d and number. Now in the result, now we want to discuss the result, and in the result what we want to store? The square of the given number. So here we have used our result variable, and with the equal sign we have stored the value here, that square function that we are using. So means here we are calling our function square, and in that as a parameter we have passed the input that we have got from the user. So this is called the argument. So square and number and bracket over, and this statement will call our square function. And whatever the number input that is given by the user, that is passed, means this input will be gone to the our called function. So now by using this statement, the our control will go to the function body, means to our square function. So here you can see integer square we have written and integer number 1. So this number 1 is a formal variable that will help or that will hold the value of a actual variable. So now this number, this input will be stored into an num1. Now here we are declaring or we are getting the answer of a square. So here we have declared one local variable integer answer, and here now we are performing the actual square operation. So answer is equals to number 1 multiplied by number 1. So if we will multiply the same number 2 times, then we will get the square, means multiplication of given number again with that number, that will give the answer square. And now we are with the help of return statement, and as a parameter what we are returning answer. So now this return statement will pass the flow of program to the main function again, and whatever the value we have written, that is answer, that will be stored now into our result variable in our void main, in our main function. And at the last the statement will be executed that printf the square of %d, means the square is number and result. So with the %d, first one it will display your number, and then after it will display the result. So like this two-way communication will be possible here with the help of the parameter, means with the help of argument and return statement. And this will be the output of your program. So here first it will give you the message enter your number. So here we have entered number 10. So now the message is coming square of 10 is 100. So this is the output of our program. And now we will read one type the explanation. So the main function accepts the number from the user which is stored in a number variable. Means first we are accepting the number variable from the user, and that we have stored inside the number variable. Then the number variable is passed as an actual argument to the square function. And in a square function, the formal argument num1 gets the value of our number variable. Now the square functions then calculates the square and stored it into the answer variable, and the last statement in the square return the value stored in a answer variable to the calling function. And the caller function accepts the return value and stored it into the result variable. And last statement in the main displays the square of a given number on the screen. So whatever I have explained, the same things are written over here. But one thing you need to remember, that our actual input that we are getting, that actual argument we have got from the user, and that is our number. Then when we are calling the function when we are calling this square root function in our main, then this number variable, means the actual argument, will be stored over here in our formal argument, that is in num1. So like this it will work. So I hope you understood the concept of a program here. Now we will discuss the summary of this chapter. Yes students, now we are going to conclude our chapter number 16. So in this chapter we had discussed basic concepts related to the C functions. We had seen that use of function in a program makes it modular. We had learned that how to use the library and user defined functions in our program. We had learned that how to use global and local variables in our program. And we had seen that how functions can return a value to the calling function. The basic idea behind using arguments and parameters in the function is discussed. And what is the function prototype? How many types of categories are there of a function? This all the things we have discussed in this chapter. So I hope you understood all the things well. Thank you students.